HOA fined me for fishing in my pond, so I bought the lake and banned them all for life. The sun hung low over Karen Lake, its golden rays glinting off the water's surface, mocking the storm brewing in Tom Harlan's chest. For years, this pond behind his modest cabin had been his sanctuary. He'd cast his line at dawn, the quiet ripples carrying away memories of a life fractured by loss, his wife, gone too soon, and a daughter who'd stopped calling. Fishing wasn't just a hobby. It was his tether to peace. But the Karen Homeowners Association had other plans. They'd slapped him with a $500 fine for unauthorized use of community property. His pond on his land, now claimed by their manicured rules. Tom stood at the water's edge, the fine notice crumpled in his fist. Across from him, Margaret Voss, the HOA president, adjusted her pristine blazer, her lips pursed in smug authority. "Rules are rules, Mr. Harlan," she said, voice sharp as a lawyer's pen. "This pond feeds into the community lake. You're disrupting our ecosystem." Beside her, Carl, a wiry neighbor who'd always eyed Tom's property with envy, clutched his own fishing rod, smirking. "Should have read the bylaws, old man." Tom's blood boiled. "This pond's been mine for decades. My deed says so." He'd checked hours poring over yellow documents in his attic proved it. The pond was his, carved out by his grandfather's hands. But the HOA, with their endless meetings and petty power grabs, had redrawn boundaries, claiming the water as shared. Tom's protests at their meetings were met with sighs and eye rolls. "You're not above the community," Margaret had said, her tone dripping with condescension. The confrontation escalated that crisp autumn morning. Neighbors gathered, drawn by the shouting. Carl stepped closer, jabbing a finger. "You think you're special, Harlan? Pay the fine or we'll lien your house." Tom's vision blurred with rage. He'd lost too much to let these vultures take his last refuge. Then, a voice cut through the chaos, a soft, unfamiliar one. "He's right, you know." Heads turned. A young woman, maybe mid-20s, stood at the crowd's edge, clutching a folder. "I'm Ellie, county records clerk. I dug into the deeds. The pond's his, not yours." The air shifted. Margaret's face paled, but she doubled down. "We'll see about that in court." Carl sneered, tossing his rod aside. "You'll regret this, Harlan." The crowd murmured, some nodding with Margaret, others eyeing Tom with newfound respect. Ellie's unexpected arrival was a lifeline, but it only fueled Tom's resolve. He wasn't just fighting for his pond anymore, was fighting for every underdog crushed by petty tyrants. That night, Tom couldn't sleep. Ellie's folder sat on his kitchen table, a treasure trove of legal ammo. But something bigger stirred in him. The HOA didn't just want his pond. They wanted control, to erase his history for their cookie-cutter vision of community. By dawn, he'd made a call to a real estate lawyer, a grizzled old friend of his father's. "Can I buy the lake?" Tom asked, half expecting laughter. The lawyer paused, then chuckled. "It's privately owned. If you've got the money, it's yours." Tom didn't have the money, not really. His savings were modest, his cabin barely paid off. But he had something better. A plot of adjacent land, inherited from his grandfather, worth a fortune to developers circling like vultures. He sold it, every acre, pouring the proceeds into a bid for Karen Lake. The owner, a reclusive tycoon tired of HOA complaints, accepted. By month's end, Tom owned the entire lake, every ripple, every fish, every inch of shore the HOA had claimed as community property. The day he signed the deed, Tom called a meeting. The HOA board arrived, expecting another plea. Instead, Tom stood at the podium, deed in hand, Ellie at his side. "Karen Lake is mine," he said, voice steady. "And you're all banned. For life." Gasps echoed. Margaret's face twisted in disbelief. Carl lunged forward, shouting about lawsuits, but Tom held firm. "You fined me for fishing in my pond. Now you'll never touch this lake again." The victory was sweet, but the aftermath bitter. Neighbors who'd once waved now glared. Carl's wife spread rumors, calling Tom a tyrant. Even Ellie, his unlikely ally, vanished back to her quiet life, leaving Tom to face the fallout alone. The lake sparkled under the moon, but its silence felt heavier now. He'd won, but at what cost? His sanctuary was intact, yet the community he'd lived alongside for decades was fractured. Some saw him as a hero, others a villain. His daughter, hearing the news, sent a single text, "Dad, was it worth it?" Tom sat by the pond that night, rod in hand, but didn't cast. The water reflected a man who'd fought for what was his, only to lose something intangible: connection, perhaps, or the illusion of belonging. The HOA's rules were suffocating, but had he become the very thing he despised, wielding power to punish? The question gnawed at him as the stars faded. What do you think, was Tom's revenge justice, or did he go too far? Share your thoughts on where the line lies between standing up and striking back.